For thousands of years, House Stark has been interconnected with magic and the children of the forest, and the Brandons of House Stark connected even further. With Bran Stark being the one character in A Song of Ice and Fire that is involved with this magic the most, we should look back at how the history of House Stark can foreshadow Bran's involvement in the Winds of Winter. The origin of House Stark can be traced back to Bran the Builder, a legendary figure from the Age of Heroes who built Winterfell and the Wall, with connections to the construction of Storm's End and the High Tower too. However, Bran's fabled father, Brandon of the Bloody Blade, was also a legendary figure. It is said that Brandon of the Bloody Blade was the son of Garth Greenhand, the ancestor of most of the noble houses in the Reach. Tales claim Brandon of the Bloody Blade drove giants away from the Reach and warred with the children of the forest, slaying so many at Blue Lake it became known as Red Lake. This begs the question though, if Bran the Builder's father massacred many of the children of the forest, why did the children then help him build the wall after the Long Night? I think I've found the answer to that. The legends of the Long Night speak of a terrible darkness that fell across the world, lasting a generation. In this darkness emerged the Others, a race wielding razor-thin swords of ice who raised whites to fight the living. To fight off the darkness, an expedition of men went in search of the children of the forest. The only survivor of this company, the last hero, reached the children and gained their assistance. The Night's Watch then formed and won the battle for the dawn, using dragonglass and driving the Others back into the land of always winter. I believe that this last hero was Bran the Builder, who made a pact with the children of the forest to help keep the threat of the Others at bay, and a pact that meant the Stark bloodline was imbued with the abilities of skin changing and greensight. It can be seen that the children of the forest can give such a power at Red Lake, the same place Brandon of the Bloody Blade slaughtered them, as it is rumoured that the women of House Crane of Red Lake have the ability to skin change into cranes, much like that of House Stark. With the Others pushed back into the far north, Bran the Builder began the construction of the wall with the help of the children of the forest and giants, as a line of defence woven with magic in case the Others resurfaced, and Winterfell was built as a suitable seat for House Stark. There is no mention of the children of the forest and the Others until King Brandon the Breaker. The Night's King, the 13th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, fell in love with the woman he saw from atop of the wall, and he chased and caught and loved her. The woman had pale white skin as cold as ice and eyes like blue stars, which is why it's widely accepted that she was an Other. He gave her his love and his soul and brought her back to the Night Fort, one of the castles along the wall, declaring himself as a king and her his corpse queen. The Night's King ruled the Night Fort for 13 years, using strange sorcery to bend the Night's Watch to his will. King Brandon the Breaker allied with Joramun, the first legendary king beyond the wall, to try and defeat him. Joramun held the Horn of Winter that had magical properties that could wake giants from the earth and also potentially could bring down the wall, and so likely is linked to the children of the forest, which is why I speculate that Brandon the Breaker also aligned himself with the children, upholding the pact his ancestor had made to defeat the threat of the Others, the Corpse Queen. There is not much information how this King of Winter defeated the Night's King, but we do know that he was defeated, and afterwards it was discovered that the Night's King had been making offerings to the Others. As a result, all records of the Night's King were destroyed and his name forgotten, leading many fans to theorise, me included, that the Night's King was a member of House Stark, potentially a second son to a King of Winter, a common practice seen in their history. Throughout the history of House Stark, this is the last detail I could find of them potentially interacting with the children of the forest and the Others, which could be because of two reasons. Firstly, the defeat of the Corpse Queen could have meant that the Others had been completely driven away to the lands of always winter, and so there's no more need of an alliance. Or secondly, if the Night's King truly was a Stark, Brandon the Breaker might have ended the alliance with the children to maintain the safety and sanctity of his family. However, we do know that the Stark's ability to skin change remained in their bloodline, as seen in the books with the Stark children. Thousands of years later, during the events of A Song of Ice and Fire, with the Others resurfacing and a looming threat to Westeros, the children of the forest and the three-eyed crow, Brynden Rivers, have been grooming Bran to develop and embrace his gifts of green sight and skin changing, in doing so losing his sense of morality that we see in his earlier chapters, with his infatuation with Mira Reed and A Dance with Dragons, and even him feasting on human flesh for summer. However, I don't think this hints at him becoming a villain as many fans speculate, but more as him becoming the bridge between humanity and the children of the forest, much like Bran the Builder could have done by brokering the alliance with them. With that comes the sense of neutrality that considers every aspect of a decision, and so nothing becomes right or wrong. Every time the Others have risen, a Brandon of House Stark has been the key connection to the world of magic, and Bran Stark will be no different. His gifts will lead him to the knowledge of what motivates the Others and their weaknesses, to help defend Westeros. Now, I don't think the Others will be entirely defeated as they were in Game of Thrones, but instead subdued, whether that be through magic or a peace pact. The Seven Kingdoms will likely have to compromise or sacrifice something. What this is I don't know, but we shall see in the Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring. This is not possible, however, without Bran Stark. Let me know if you think my theory has roots or if you think it's full of holes. Either way, I'd like to hear from you. This is my first video on a theory I've proposed and hope for many more to come, so thank you for watching and stay tuned. Cheers.